Hi, my knee. So I went to a conference run by the Learning Consortium, and there were some really, really interesting talks, and one of them was about evidence-based teaching. And I gave you the video of the presentation to watch, and all of us made some notes on it. And what I'd like to do is just have a quick think about what would be the best way, do you think, to get some of these ideas across to our tutors, because some of the things that he was talking about as being not very good evidence-based teaching methods, I know are still used by some of our tutors, and we've been guilty of making them use them in the past. So it's about thinking, how do we change that teaching culture a little bit? So I wondered, Gemma, if you had any ideas about the best way to get in touch with tutors and help them to think about these things.
Yeah, well, probably when we have development days or away days get together, then you've got everybody in the same room, also it gets it going into a discussion and they can bounce off each other, maybe ideas that the other one uses, something they haven't thought of, but also probably by email, just because then when there's new processes coming out, they've got something to reflect back on, there's no way of forgetting it, you know, you pick it up, got it in black and white.
What do you think, Nick? Would that be?
I think I've definitely been guilty of over-emailing people in the past, because there's so many changes to processes that it's one of those ways to get it out to people, but at the same time we could do with a backup something that's a bit more flashy, a bit more interesting. There's lots of new methods of storing information, such as Padlet, Prezi, lots of new technologies that we could use, that maybe we email out a link and then they can go onto it. Again, it's people getting time to actually then look at those, so
Yeah, do you think
it's very difficult
I
to
think people will look at them if you send them a
I
link?
think definitely what you say about you can over-email, you don't want too much information in it, but sometimes new ideas don't always sink in straight away and they need to go away and think about it, and then they want to just go back to that information. So if it's been talked at them, at least if they've got it, don't have to be a long email, but as you say, to Padlet or something, it's just something for them to reflect back on and refresh.
Some sort of central area where anything new like that that's shared, it's stored, so that if somebody deletes their email,
I think you quite often get tutors come back to you and they're sort of, they ask you and you think it's been emailed out, but maybe the email's got lost or something. So as you say, if there's a place where all information is, and maybe there's a search box or something, and they can just search on that topic, then they're likely to find it.
Well, we've got the wiki, haven't we? And we've got the wiki and we've got Edmodo.
That's true. It's just making sure that everybody's signed up to
I
those, because if they're not, then we're expecting that everybody's got the information and they maybe haven't. Or
Yeah.
I think it's definitely good to have it backed up, as I say, electronically for them to review, but initially I think people do like to, as you say, if you're going to a class, to have a teacher to stand there and talk to you and just give you the introduction about.
Because some of the theory-based things that our tutors have used in the past were taught to them on teacher training courses, or
don't we have that as such? Well, we've got the tutor evenings and things.
we have got,
share.
yeah. But of course now it's
Still
September
really.
and that summer tutor evenings
Yeah,
are in the summer, aren't they?
away.
We really need to get to people before then, don't we? And we don't necessarily get to plan away days and things like that, do we? And also you've got the difference between our internal staff and our subcontractors and their staff, because they're employed, you know, outside of there.
So what about if you did your own presentation? I know you sent the link for us to review a presentation, but maybe if we did our own, videoed it and just summarised the key points, and then maybe at staff meetings they
rolled
could
out via the
and maybe they could watch it at a staff meeting,
a bit more interesting.
and then it's not a case of, well, we didn't have time to read that email and watch that video, like you've sat down still as a group and then they can discuss it afterwards to take it forward.
That's a brilliant idea.
like
Shall we
Write it down,
set up a
keep it.
meeting to talk about how we get forward with that?
Definitely.
So excellent.
Okay.
Got